Yeah, yeah, yeah. Baby, yeah. You don't say ready on this. You know I have patience.
Greetings, family. Welcome to another episode of the Grand Rising Collective. Thank you for spending your time with us on this beautiful day. And in reference of the Grand Rising Collective podcast, we want to say thank you to all the people who've been supporting us to this point. We want to say thank you for all the people who've given us encouragement up to this point, and all those folks who have yet, to find out who we are. Hopefully, this is a good way for you to find out what we're about and what we do. So, the Rising Collective podcast is a forum that myself and my partner Kai Bentley started. And we chose the name Grand Rising Collective because it's a term of endearment for the morning. Like people say, good morning, good rising, grand rising. So it's a perfect way to, a perfect reminder for us to be able to start the day at our best, doing our best, achieving our best, and also a way of saying rise to the occasion. Like you want to rise, so grand rising, you want to rise to the occasion and be at your best at all times. And it's a reminder for us to be excellent, think excellent, do the things that are excellent for ourselves and our communities. So without further ado, I want to pass it to my man, my homie, Kai Bentley.
Thank you, Brother Kyle. I appreciate you. You know that already. This is my business partner, my colleague, just down like that. You know what I mean? All right. So
yes.
I learned this new intro that I want to do in addition to everything else, and it's basically welcome back if you're a subscriber. If you're new here, I'm Kayode Bentley, and I am a part of the collective, Grand Rising Collective, with my colleague, brother in arms, everything, Kyle Dixon. Let me give you some information or some background on who's speaking to you, so you know who's talking to you and who you're listening to. My name is Kayode Bentley, and I am the president and founder of an organization called 4Ts, which stands for Teaching Teens to Think, whose objective is to help inner city youth identify their inherent skill set, so that way they can use that inherent skill set that they discovered about themselves to complete their education, higher education, to get a job, establish a career, and ultimately start a business if they choose to. The demographic in which my organization serves are from the ages of 16 to 24. My reasons for joining this collective with my colleague, brother in arms, Kyle Dixon, is to disseminate that information to a larger demographic. Whereas my organization targets 16 to 24-year-olds, the Grand Rising Collective is dedicated to the community. That means parents in the community, business owners in the community, organizational leaders in the community, you name it. So that way the conversations that we have from our experience, we can share outside of a bubble. You can extend it out, disseminate it to a larger audience for the purpose of uplifting the community, to empower the community to make the world a better place. So that's my hat with regards to 4Ts. I also wear another hat as professor at Fordham University, where I teach social services, business organization development as well. And I also sit on the advisory board at LIU. So it's very important that you know who's speaking to you and who you're listening to. So these are all the skills, the experience that I bring to the Grand Rising Collective, disseminate this information to help empower you who are watching to share it with your communities, with your family and friends. So I'm sorry for the long-windedness, but I'm polishing this up to make sure I get the information to you all more effectively so you'll know what's going on. Without any further delay or ado, I'm proud to introduce this young man. Again, I talked enough already, but I gotta give him props with this. This young man, he's going to introduce himself. I have been very impressed with him. Now, I hope as I'm saying this doesn't go to his head. I hope he stays, you know what I mean? But I have to tell you this, he's a young man. He's 18 going on 19, if I'm correct.
Going on 20.
19 going on 20. He'll tell you his background, school and stuff like that, but he's major impressed. This guy has been a great help to me. I'm amazed at how much he knows, in regards to everything that's going on, but you'll find out and you'll see for yourself as we do this interview. So without any further ado, my man, Mohammed, please introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself. And what else you want, say your name and what else you want the people to know about you before we get into this informal discussion interview.
Okay. Nice to meet everybody. I hope everybody's having a blissful day. I know it can kind of be stressful with COVID going around, but let's make the most of it. My name is Mohammed Hassan, as Mr. K introduced me. I am from Fort Greene, Brooklyn, New York. I did not grow up here, but majority of my life was spent here. I'm an immigrant. I came from Bangladesh, and I'm entering into college next year. Hopefully, everything's going good, and this crisis is over. I am along with the students of 2020 that doesn't have a graduation. So, my heart goes out to everybody,
Yeah.
and let's get this started.
Let's go. So, Kyle, you want to
Right.
do the honors, brother? Please.
I'll let you do the honors first, my brother. I want you to kick this off. Yeah.
All right. So I'm kind of, I'm trying to figure out where I want to start. One of the reasons why we're glad you're here is because you are the voice of the young generation, pretty much.
Mhm.
Kyle and myself represent one generation. You represent another generation. And my goal, since I partnered with the Boys and Girls Club, long and short of it is to pretty much see where your young people were at, right, mentally, see what plans that you have. I talk about 5 and 10-year plans. So I guess, Mohammed, my first question to you is going to be a generic one, setting the stage for Kyle to come in, and I'm going to piggyback off these questions pretty much, is what has your experience been like since you've been here in the United States as far as education is concerned?
As far as education is concerned, it's been all over the place. I've been to really great schools, but and I've also been to really crappy schools, excuse my language. And so as far as the education goes, there are certain things that we can do to help and help the kids. One thing that I don't think that we should do is kind of put our education into a box, making it one size fits all. Because for me, early on, I realized that I have a difficulty reading and spelling. I had a difficulty reading and spelling, and that caused me to get held back a couple years. And it took a lot of work, but eventually I got through it. But some of the kids might not have the resources that were available to me. And so I think schools should be trying to make a difference in, catering to the kids that not necessarily don't have learning disabilities, but have a hard time learning, have a hard time understanding, or processing the information there is.
Okay.
So that's been to answer the question. It's been half and half. There are goods, but however, there are bads too.
Okay. Kyle? I don't want to take up too much, man, because I got a lot of questions I want to ask.
Yeah. I mean, like, so Muhammad, Mo, I had issues, growing up as far as with reading deficiencies, learning deficiencies. How did you help get through that? Like, you being not originally from America, possibly having a language barrier. Like, tell me a little bit about, like what does that mean? Bangeldesh, Bengali, like what is that?
So Bengali is Bangladesh is first of all where I'm from. It's a little country right off the coast of India.
Mm-hmm.
Bengalis are the people, and Bangla is the language that we speak. So I speak Bangla, and when I grew up, my parents they didn't speak English when we first got here. My dad knew a little bit, but it wasn't enough to teach me and take me to school. So I was always introduced to Bangla when I was growing up. Like my sister, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, everybody spoke Bangla. Then when I got to school, it was a little difficult trying to switch it all up because at home I'm speaking Bangla almost 12 hours a day. And then for 6 hours, 4 hours, I had to go to school and speak English, which made it kind of difficult, especially since my mom and father didn't know English. It was kind of hard to ask them for help with the homework and the classwork and stuff like that.
Okay. And how did you get through like that barrier? Was it just like out? Like, how was that?
Honestly, if it wasn't really for my mom, my sister, my dad, if it wasn't for their help, they got tutors. Like, I had cousins tutor me, and they sat down. I was one of the kids that, like, if you yelled at me, I was gonna misbehave no matter what. But there was this one tutor. this was years ago, but she sat down by me and she never yelled at me. She never like, screamed at me. She sat down, and whenever she saw that I was acting up, she gave me my space and tried to wind me back. And, the tutors is what helped me basically come over all this.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Same for me. I had tutors. I had many tutors. So I feel you, and I
Oh, yeah.
too. So definitely, yeah, definitely help.
I I don't think I ever had tutors, man. I think I was.
This guy.
No. Like,
He
I'm
trying to
trying to
show off his
contribute to
smarts.
the conversation, man.
On the line.
All right, go ahead.
Let me calm down, because I sometimes I'm getting confused when I'm with the teens, and
Nah, go ahead.
Oh my God.
No, I didn't have tutors. I did have, for one thing, I don't think my mother and I could afford tutors. That's one. The second one was, I think, like you said, teachers, right? So I had teachers. I remember my math class. I was taking geometry, and I just couldn't get it. I was going to fail that class, and it just so happened that the teacher who taught the class was out sick for like 2 months, I think, 2.5 months.
Oh wow.
And we got a substitute teacher that came in. I'll never forget. And he came in, and right then I knew that it wasn't me. It was the way the teacher was teaching. So, I mean, the way he taught, it just connected. So I think to some degree, your teachers have a big influence on your life.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely, right? So, Mohammed, I have a question in line with all that, because I know you. So the questions I'm going to ask is a little more personal, because I know this guy.
Yeah, go ahead, of course.
How, at 19 going on 20,
Yes.
I've known you for about 1.5 going on 2 years.
Yeah.
How, at such a young age, how are you so in tune with everything that's going on? How are you so advanced? Like, I asked this kid Kyle stuff. I'll be like, yo, how do you know this? Like, so how did you become so acclimated with what's going on around it and know so much? Like, what was your practice? What was that?
I mean, I grew up in a white America. It's like, it's either one day it's based off your religion, like you're being discriminated against, or your skin color. And I got to see the best of both worlds, where I was discriminated against being a Muslim and also having brown, darker skin tones. And what that taught me is I had to grow up a little faster. And when I was younger, it was always difficult for me to read and sit down, read a book. But it was always easy for me to watch the news and just take in all the information. And so, like, one thing I love to do is, I know we discussed this earlier, I don't sleep. I don't like to sleep at all. There's not enough hours in the day. But I love to sit up and watch videos or will read news articles. And that might sound like weird to some kids. Like, oh, you like to watch news articles while I play games? Like, I used to love games and like toys and all that, but when I was in middle school, it kind of just died down. And because it was always that mentality, like I never was able to afford it. So when I first was able to buy it, it's like that interest was never there, but the interest for learning was always there. So I'm able to, I'm in like the information I shared. Leonardo Da Vinci, he sleeps in increments, and I was able to learn that through a video. And a lot of that stuff comes from YouTube or just like, Fox News or CNN. I try to diversify the news because it can be biased, but a lot of it comes from the internet. The cell phone right here. This is where all my information comes from.
I was gonna say that Fox, man, you better add some more news.
Oh no. Yeah. I definitely
like,
diversify. I just like to hear a little bit of everybody's ideas.
That's good. Even the folks that you may not agree with, you still want to hear their perspective because it gives you a little more perspective on your side. That's good. That's good. So in reference of that, to kind of lean into that, Mo, you being a young person coming up into now your young adulthood, like for you, like do you have people that you admire, or like you mentioned Leonardo Da Vinci, right? Famous Italian, architecture, painter, artist, inventor. Who are some other people you admire? Like they could be from the past or Present
We
or
talking as far as famous, or it could be just like people we know?
anyone.
Anyone?
Anyone.
If I had to go with anybody, it would definitely have to be that one I have to think about. But
Okay.
as far as the surface goes, I'd have to be proud of my dad. Like I'm inspired by him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you the backstory. My dad grew up really, really poor, and
Mm-hmm.
like I'm talking like the most he owned were like two shirts and like a
Wow.
pair of sneakers.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago, and that was in Bangladesh. We grew up in the trenches and the tenements in Bangladesh, and so he started working when he was really, really young, and for him to kind of come to where he is now, he's living in America. He has a nice job. We have a car. Like his daughter is getting an education. I'm getting a proper education. Like we're all what he could have wished for, and to be able to hear the story of what my dad has come from to where he is now, where like he could just relax in the living room and watch TV
Mm-hmm.
versus worrying about what's he gonna eat next, where's his next meal gonna come from, and not having to worry about that. It's something very inspiring, and most definitely he's one of my biggest influences.
Wow. Okay. Oh
Yeah,
boy,
man.
oh boy, oh
Yeah.
boy. All
I
right.
hear you, my brother. My father was the same for me. You
Of
know,
course.
father and my mother, both of them, but
Mm,
definitely dad because as boy to men,
yeah.
I definitely feel you on that one.
I know we're asking him questions, but this is also a discussion, right? So I guess,
Yeah. This
but I don't
discussion.
want to take up too much
Yeah,
of my time.
because I haven't got to those fours that he got in that background right there. Them J4s. I see them joints. You know what I'm saying? I see it. My first pair of Jordans, by the way, but we're gonna get onto that later.
I'll tell you real quick.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned your father's as inspiration. We have various people inspired, but my dad too. In fact, real quick, my dad was a great influence on me as to why I don't smoke or do drugs or drink. I have a casual drink here and there, but and some of these things, I told him when I was 12, I
Yeah.
smoked a pack of cigarettes. I don't know if you know the guy. I don't think I told
No,
you.
I don't know that.
This story's funny.
Do tell.
When I was 12, I smoked a pack of cigarettes. My family, the mother side of my family, they smoke, they drink, they
Wow, an
party.
entire pack?
They party. Yeah. So now my family's going to know if they're watching live. Now they going.
Yeah, damn. Wow, you was puffing it up, brother.
Wow. So yeah, so I got so sick to my stomach. I prayed. I said, Father, if I don't die, and I seriously meant this too, if I don't die, I'll never smoke another cigarette in my life. I won't do any drugs whatsoever, and I meant it. So
Yeah.
my mom came home. I was sick. She was like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "I'm sick." I didn't tell her what it was, but I got and she gave me soup and stuff like that, and I got better. And I never smoked again. But the reinforcement of that was from my dad. So my dad, I never seen my dad smoke, never seen my dad do any drugs, never seen my dad drink. So as I would grow up, and interface and get social, that influenced me. So since Muhammad, your dad is a great influence to you. Kyle, your dad.
Uh, I don't only want to say my dad, definitely my teachers. There's this one teacher in particular. His name is John Rondon. He's on Facebook. I don't know if he's gonna see this, but man, like he's like he grew up in the old generation. But when I tell you this dude is like I can't explain the type of impact he had on my life. I was lost. I was angry. I was mad at the world for what was going on at home, what's going on with my life. And he just kind of pulled me out of the darkness and saw in me what I don't like, what I couldn't see at the time. He saw in me so much, and he never let what was going on be an excuse for why I'm not striving to be my best.
Right.
And he always pushed me, and I'm still into contact with him today. And he checks on me every now and then. I check on him. He's an older gentleman, so but him, he definitely had one of the biggest impacts on me as far as growing up.
I'm glad you said that because this ties into how important. And I'm sorry, Kyle.
No, don't apologize at all. Go for it. It's Teacher Appreciation Week, by the way, too. So I know you
Oh, it's also
appreciate that.
Nurses Appreciation Week too.
Yep.
We
We
appreciate everybody.
interviewing Mohammed, right? This is
Yeah,
different.
man. We save
Yeah,
lives, baby. We save lives. We save lives out here.
yes, for the purpose of building up young men like Mohammed. There we go. No, I got you. I'm just messing with y'all. But I want to stress a point with regards to what Mohammed said and what we're bringing up, how valuable a support system is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think people focus on that. Like teachers, like Teacher Appreciation Week, right?
Definitely.
And these nurses appreciations. These are all. I try and shy away from the term role models as such, because I think Kyle, you brought that up in one of our other discussions. But the fact that these are people who we can come to for support when we're struggling. Like I'm honored to be a mentor to my young brother here, Mo, and the other teams, at the club and various staff. We play a certain role in these young people's lives to help them because they're the next generation. There's the future. And to be a part, unfortunately, society doesn't see how valuable this role is, but thank God we do, and that we're able to share this with the young generation. So I just wanted to bring up support system, and Mohammed, the fact that you brought that up, I think alludes to how important a support system is. And for young people, try and find somebody you trust who can give you that guidance along the way if you're confused or whatever the case may be. So that's my
most definitely. What I have to say for a support system, not everybody has the luxury of having a support system at home. And I know as a brown American Bengali man, it can be difficult, especially for brown women of my culture, or not just my culture, but a lot of immigrant cultures. Like it can be difficult to find that support system at home. But I also want to stress there are resources out there. Hotlines you can call. If you don't feel comfortable calling, you can text them. Most definitely, there are resources like I'm a part of a team in my school. I'm a peer leader, and it's with the Joe Torre Foundation. You can go on their website. Joe Torre, the I forgot what he,
Joe Torre, the comedian Joe Torre, or?
No, Joe Torre, the baseball player.
Oh, Joe Torre, yeah, for the manager for the Yankees, right?
He previous manager, right?
Previous manager, yeah.
So I've there's different resources out there. That's what I want to stress. And even if make new friends. Meeting new people is a key element in building your own support system. Sometimes you might be afraid of going outside of your little circle, your little box, but in the long run, meeting new people can eventually help you and help build that foundation for a support system.
Very good.
Yes.
So a support system, and thank you for clarifying that, Mo. A support system can be people who are older than you, right? But they can also be your peers. And
it doesn't necessarily have to be older than you too. I have a couple younger friends that helps me out too. Like whenever I need clarification on a topic, or like I just need a couple viewpoints that are different from mine, I can go to my younger friends for help.
You're actually Mo, Tierra, the rest of y'all are my support system, where I go to understand certain things and the lingo and to be able to connect. But I also want to emphasize something that's written in the scripture. So whatever your belief or what have you, there's a quote that says, "And a child shall lead them," right? So children can also serve as a sort of support system and comforting you, like especially parents and stuff when they go through what have you. That innocent and pureness in the child's eyes or face can really comfort an adult to whatever they're going through, helping them see, helping them change their perspective and see what's important in life. Not just money, not just a job, but the value of life, especially a young person that you mold.
When you say that, this one sentence come to mind. It's like 1 minute I've seen a baby cry, the next minute I've seen him smile. The beauty behind that is the pain never lasts, and that's by J. Cole. And so, I try to remember that wherever I go.
Told you, Kyle.
I
told you.
Quoting the J. Cole lyrics, oh man. Yeah, J. Cole is nice. J. Cole is nice, man.
Oh yeah, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. There's a couple other artists out there that are definitely I love the story behind the situation. Like I love the story behind it all.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what makes it. That's what makes an artist unique.
Yeah,
Is their personal story, and that's one
of
thing
course.
I promote to my students is tell
Yeah,
you don't you just because it's not on TV or it's
yeah,
not on big screen movies doesn't mean it's not valid. It's
yeah,
always valid, because it's your personal experience, your personal perspective on the world.
yeah, of course.
Very good.
Definitely. And to tie into that, Mo, how is it you being into being a Muslim? I'm assuming you practice Islam
Yes.
here in America, and we know that has had a stigma for a long time.
I mean,
Recently,
it's very different from when I was growing up because now
mm,
we're actually being recognized and celebrated.
mm,
Versus when I came to America, it was literally like a year after 9/11.
mm,
So,
wow,
so
wow,
yeah, like a lot of people were either racist towards me, my sister, my mother, my father, and there were times where we kind of stopped and fell away from practicing for
mm,
our own safety. And as we got older, a lot of people's perspective on it started changing. And one thing I did was I read I read everything. I read the Torah, I read the Bible. I've even learned about Buddhist teachings. And one thing I have to say is, if you're not sure about a religion, read up on it or ask a friend. This came from a project that I did in sixth grade where I wrote about Christianity, and all my Muslim friends were looking at me like I lost my mind.
mm,
They were like they were kind of foreign to the idea of learning about other beliefs, and I think that's where people kind of switched it up and made the mistake where they didn't try to understand each other rather than push something away they didn't understand. You
mm,
know, in the Quran, it mentions how if you kill anybody or disrespect anybody or put down another person's belief or teachings, you're basically burning the entire world.
mm.
Along those lines. And, you know, that's one thing I want to tell everybody. It's like learn about other people's cultures, try to understand everybody's teachings, and, open your mind up to that. And now, we're in the month of Ramadan. I'm fasting right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have like our mayor, he's giving out food for people that only eat halal food. And we even have a holiday now, because growing up I had to skip school to celebrate the holiday versus now where we actually get a day off of school to celebrate the holiday. So it's
Yeah.
it's crazy to think from when I was when I was 6 or 7 years old, I had to stay home from school just to celebrate a holiday, get
Yeah.
marked absent, versus now teachers are even coming up to me and saying Ramadan Mubarak, stuff like that, Eid Mubarak. And it's amazing.
Yeah, man. Wow. You just made me think, wow. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you questions after this. But that just reminded me, man, like when my mother would take me out of school or ask me if to go to school in reference of Martin Luther King Day.
Mhm.
South, so yeah, so like, she sometimes if I would choose to go to school, I would wear like a shirt or something.
Yeah,
Not she'd write a note to give to the teacher to say why I was out that day. And she would break it. It'd be like a page long. My mom
yeah,
to play it.
yeah,
So that's awesome, man, and that's interesting. Like we live in New York City, so
yeah,
like you said, the adjustment. You've seen the progression, at least in that sense,
yeah.
of recognizing your religious spiritual practices. And could you go in really brief, because this ties into a lot of things, the importance of fasting and what is halal.
Okay, so let's start with the importance of fasting and why I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, living in America, living where I live, I have a lot of blessings. Some certain things I might not have, but I can't I can't put down the blessings I do have. I have a roof over my head. I have the Jordan 4s that I could wear on my
Yeah.
feet. And most definitely, I have food and shelter and clothing that I can eat and,
Mhm.
wear. And unfortunately, there's millions of people around the world that doesn't have that. So in the
Mhm.
month of Ramadan, we kind of pay tribute to them, say
Mhm.
thank you, try to understand their struggle. It's basically it's like a reminder. Remember where we could go, what could happen to us, and remember where we came from. It's like basically being humbled. And so we practice this. We fast all day, sunrise to sunset, because there are people that can't eat. There are people that doesn't have clean drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
There are people all over the world, not just in America, that don't have those resources. And we do this as a reminder to ourselves, like, let's always pray to God. Let's always be thankful for what we have. Let's always remember our blessings rather than look at what we don't have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more behind it, but that's just like a general idea of why people fast.
Mm-hmm. And reference. Oh, great. Thank you for that explanation. And halal, like, what does it mean? Like,
Okay, so halal is the basic idea of it is like if it's meat,
mm-hmm.
it mainly has to do with meat, or like if a product doesn't have any pork in it. So when it comes to meat, if it has any form of meat or stuff like that, you have to sacrifice it in God's name, or it's going to be a martyr. So, like, let's say chicken or cow, and when we're trying to eat it, we can't let the chicken suffer. We can't let the cow suffer. We have to do it in one swift movement. And if we do it like trying to let the cow suffer, we can't eat that. That's basically you harming life.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to halal, we can't let the animal suffer. We have to do it in one swift movement and make sure that there's no suffering going on with the animal.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Thank you for explaining that, bro.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I learned this is what I'm talking about. Like, support,
Yeah, man.
learning from this cat, man. I'm telling
Yes,
you.
sir.
You know me. I got tied in. Now, just recently, Mohammed did me the honors of sharing with me his report card.
Ooh.
And this brother got over 80s, if I'm not mistaken, in all
90s and up.
90s and up in all his grades, Cal. So I'm saying if you're a student,
scholar,
there it is, right? So
scholar. I mean, it's not surprising when he said he's looking at all these news different perspectives, man. Nah, that's hey.
All right. So first of all, congratulations again, Mohammed, on that great feat.
Definitely, congrats.
And then college, right? So I know that you're going to New York Tech.
Yes.
Is that right? And that's right in Brooklyn. Share with me what your selection process was in choosing that college, if there was any.
I mean, for me, it was I had a couple schools, but the three that it fell down to was Medgar Evers, BMCC, and City Tech. And so BMCC was my safety net in case, like, there was something that happened. But Medgar Evers was also like, it was there. But the thing is, I've been going to school around Crown Heights, and I know a lot of people there, but I wouldn't meet new people. You know what I'm trying to say? And it's not like it's also like, I didn't want to confine myself to just that few set of people. A lot of people do go to Crown Heights, but it's relatively the same people. I see the same people when I go to school. So City Tech is literally down the block from my house. I live in like close to J Street. And so first was efficiency. Like, I could just get up out of bed, roll in the shower, and just run to school.
Go to class.
And when I get that, when I get that when I got that 2-3 hour break during class, come home, just relax. I can lay in bed.
Yep.
And also, downtown Brooklyn is like a hub for new cultures, new people. You meet so many every day. And I think me being the guy that's like always wanting to explore, always wanting to understand new things, new ideas, new teachings, I think that was the perfect fit for me.
So, all right. So one of the things that I try and impart on young people, as it relates to the college selection process, as far as one of the components in Four Seasons program, which is Express Portal Career, is choosing a college based on your inherent skill set. So these are the questions, that I asked T last time, is have you figured out, Mohammed, what you do naturally? And if you have, was that a part of your decision-making in choosing New York Tech, in addition to its location and everything like that? Like the school curriculum in the college, did it have anything to do with what your skill set is towards your future?
Me personally speaking, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging or anything. Please don't think that. But I feel like I have a way of communicating with people. Silver tongue, silver tongue is the terminology, and that basically means you have a way with your words. And I believe I have a way with my words and how I communicate to people, and I have an understanding of both sides, whether that be in a situation where it's the rich versus the poor, black versus white. I can see both sides of the argument and help come to a resolution. And my field that I want to study in is human resources. And that relatively goes along the lines of guidance counseling and stuff like that. And I do want to be a guidance counselor. And I feel like I'm that person that people can come to when they need to. I'm that person that can give the wisdom when you need a little guidance, or help you understand the situation. Or even if there's a difference between listening and trying to get listening to hear and listening to give a reaction. So like understanding those small little key details is definitely one of my strong suits, and the reason I led towards human resources in City Tech.
Very good.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
told you.
yeah, man. Oh, yeah, yeah. He's coming with it, man. He's coming with it. So Mo, so like in reference of like you going to school, like how or have you been able to adjust with the quarantine classes?
Oh,
And like,
Good
do
question.
you feel like school should change what they are doing, or do you feel like there's minor adjustments, major adjustments, just for you?
so that is actually going into a deeper topic that me and Mr. K actually talked about.
Yeah.
But let me give you a breakdown of my schedule that I had used to have for almost like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was 19 years old, I got a job at the Boys and Girls Club, and that
Mm-hmm.
started. And every day for the last 2 years, besides summer, well, if you want to include summer too, it was kind of the same schedule. So I'd wake up at 8 o'clock and sometimes 7 o'clock, and I'd get ready, go to school, and I'd go through the day. And right after, I'd get out sometimes at 3 o'clock, sometimes at 1 o'clock, depending on the schedule. And if I have any work left, after getting out, I'll come home, change, get a bite to eat, and then I'll go to work. And that's until my work schedule was like 8 o'clock, but some nights I'll stay until 9, 10. And yeah, that was Monday through Friday. That was my schedule, 8 to 10.
Wow.
And,
Wow.
having that turned off, like having to adapt to that over for a year and a half, and having that, like that, no, you don't got to go to work, you don't got to go to school. Having that turned off, it was a bit of an adjustment. The first week, I didn't take it seriously. Like, I hate to say that, but I didn't take it seriously. And I was
Mm-hmm.
going out with friends, I was meeting up with people, and I was just having fun. Like, yo, I get a paid week off. That's what I thought. Yo, I got a paid week off. And
Yeah.
then, like, it wasn't until my uncle passed away that it kind of just snapped me back to reality and showed me, yo, it's serious.
Yeah.
And when it comes to school, for me personally, it's really easy. I hate kind of the small talk of things, and I like to get, when it comes to schoolwork, I hate the small explaining. I just like to get the work, read what I had to do, or watch a video of what I had to do, and just get it done. I like the quick and efficiency of that. That's just me personally. And so for me, it's been easier to do it because they drop the work, they drop the reading material, they drop the video, and you turn it in by 12 o'clock. So I have time throughout my day to either watch a video, have fun, or do whatever I need to do, and then come back, finish the work, and go to sleep. It's nothing. So for me personally, it was good. But I also do understand that there are kids that need to be sitting down in the classroom, that needs to have that one-on-one with the teacher, that, has to have a book in front of them, writing and reading, versus a computer. Because for me, honestly, reading on a computer is very difficult for me. Reading on a phone, it's a little more easier, but on a computer, it's very difficult. So I do understand that.
Like why? Like why is the computer phone? Because some people think, oh, well, it's different on my phone, but not on computer. It'd be the opposite.
So for me, when it was a computer, it's like you have this big line and just like trying to read it, and you kind of get lost track of it. Versus your phone, you can scroll up slowly while you're reading, and it's just like it's easier to focus on your phone. It's a smaller device versus a computer where you have like 50 different pop-up ads coming up out of nowhere. You have like 20 different tabs open. It's a little more difficult to, yeah.
A lot more distracting.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
And I mean, I think New York City in general is really making a change already as far as classrooms go. Because I remember, I'm pretty sure you remember this. I don't know if a lot of the viewers are gonna remember. I remember growing up in a classroom where we had the light up projector with the clear paper.
Yeah, the clear paper. I was gonna say not the Scantron.
No, not the Scantron. Yeah.
I'm throwing a blank right now. Yeah.
Like it projects on, it's a light and you have to write on it.
Yeah.
I remember growing up with that, and now we have iPads. Like in my school, we have tablets on the wall, like a big flat screen tablet with 4K quality television. And so like we can watch movies on it. And it's like when I was younger, I didn't have that.
Right.
Now I have that, and it's like, I can see the change happening. This year, I don't think I got any textbooks.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think I got any textbooks this year. I only got, like, my previous years I've gotten textbooks. Now, the only thing I got was this laptop that I'm using from school.
Wow.
So you can kind of see it. Like, I don't have to worry about dragging a textbook all around all day, keeping it in my locker. I literally I could do my work on my phone, like with Google Docs, Google Classroom. It can all be done on your phone.
Wow, that's a huge shift. Wow.
And also, teachers are, as I'm growing up, teachers are becoming more younger. And so they're more in tune with the culture. Like I had this one teacher, her name was Miss Joseph, and she was 24, 25, and I'm 20. I'm like, what? So I'm about to be 20. I'm only like, 6 or 5 years apart from her.
Right.
And so that's not very big of an age gap. And so she was in tune with a lot of the technology that we were using, whether that was iPad, iPhone. Like we didn't require to have a textbook in the classroom. We didn't require to have a notebook in the classroom. So, I can see the change happening. In different places, it might take a little more time, but New York City as a whole, I can see the change happening. And mind you, we're a very small school, less than 200 kids. So imagine the huge schools like Brooklyn Tech, Bronx Science. So you can yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That reminds me of me coming in the game young, fresh out of college. But because those young folks come in with the ideas, younger educators, teachers come in with those ideas because like they're not too far removed from you all. And man, wow, like no textbooks. Wow.
Yeah, all of our work is really done online. Like it is kind of a blessing and a curse because I can't give the excuse like, oh, I forgot my textbook at home.
My dog ate my homework. Like, nah, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I use the excuse my homework fell out my window and it kind of flew away.
Oh, wow.
It worked once, and after I realized like you can't use the same excuse twice on the same teacher.
No, like I was standing on the subway, I was doing my homework, and like the train came by, and like on track, I couldn't.
I definitely use that excuse. My book's up on the track, I couldn't jump and get it.
Wow. I told you, Cal. I'm gonna switch vibes a little. We're going all over the place with the questions that we're asking, but it's good because we're getting to know a lot about you, and you're also helping a lot of people who are viewing this, both your peer group, younger coming up, and as far as older people as well. They're starting to see, the purpose of one of the reasons for this is for them to see and stop stereotyping young people. Stereotype that they're no good. They're seeing you, and now that hopefully is opening some minds up. So I'm gonna go back a little to your culture, your belief, and I want to ask you. You mentioned about Cal. You answered Cal's question in regards to the quarantine and the effect that it's having on school and things of that nature. Whereas you don't have to go to school anymore. Like So my question, I'm curious, I want to know, do you think that your belief, which I believe is somewhat related to discipline, had anything to do with your work ethic? Now, your personality in and of itself was one of curiosity.
Are we talking in regards of religion or in regards of culture?
Both.
So in regards of culture, I don't know if you noticed this. Look at any Bengali American, not just, I don't want to say any, but the majority. Look at the majority of Bengali Americans, and you'll see their work ethics. You'll see their classwork and, their schoolwork. And that was a big driver for us, mainly because our parents dropped everything and came to America so we had a better education and more opportunities. Any Bengali I talk to, or anybody from the same cultural background as me, they can understand me saying like, yo, my parents dropped everything. They dropped their mother, they dropped their brothers, they dropped their sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, and came over here, uprooted their entire life to come to a foreign land just so I have the opportunity to learn. And so with me, that was kind of the driving force. Like, yo, I gotta be the one to go to college. I gotta be the one to finish high school. I can't become like, these dudes wasting away or like, living on my parents my entire life. I want to be able to provide for them. And religiously, I think the driving force was is to understand other people. So that was my main thing with religion, because people kind of like, yes, Islam is a little more conservative, but it also encourages other people to learn about other people. It encourages love. There's no verse in the Quran that says hate on other people or harm other people. It always encourages love. It always encourages understanding. And to understand other people, you have to learn about them. And so that's like how I had to understand Mr. K. I had to learn about his past, how he came up, what he's doing, and that's just kind of how it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Of course.
Wow. Whew, man. Yeah. So. No, this is good. This is good. This is good. It just has me thinking about certain things, just because in reference of your experiences and just your maturation, like you coming into yourself. How has that added to your experience here in America? Like, like the culture, it's a culture clash. Like, and some of that is good and some of that is not so good. I know a lot of, I'm sure your elders and your parents look at some of the stuff that does and like, oh my gosh, he's American. Like, my
parents will never understand dropping $400 on a pair of sneakers, $200 on a pair of sneakers. Never in their life will they understand.
On the infrareds, on the J's.
She's like, what? Like, I had to lie to them and be like, oh, these was on sale. They're only $20. Like, all the time, I had to tell them like they were on sale.
Look, trust me, brother. Trust me. My parents didn't understand dropping $100 on sneakers when I was.
Oh yeah.
So look, I feel the pain. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I totally get it. Like,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry. Can you?
Yeah. So what's that culture clash? What was that like? Like, just again, Americanism with your family's culture.
So for a long time, it was people not understanding the culture.
Yeah.
The South Asian culture, like with the dresses and the turbans and like the tufi and everything. And a lot of people, when they don't understand something, they hate it. They push towards it. Yeah. Living in a Western culture with our parents growing up with the South Asian culture, it was kind of hard to mix with it. But I think this new generation is coming up with the idea of it's okay to be different. It's okay to be outside the norm. I have a cousin colored his hair, and in the Bengali culture, that's like, he colored his hair purple, red, and like, people were talking about that, and they were like, what? Like, that's crazy. And like, there's people that got held back, and I got held back, and they're like, what? And then there's people that are kind of just breaking down the stereotypes and becoming their own person and showing you that you can also be cultural and be Western too. You know,
Mm.
South Asian, Western. Instead of fighting, bringing it together.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. And for the older generation, it was more of a learning process. A lot of people, fortunately, my parents are more understanding than a lot more other parents.
Mm.
And I think there are people still learning. You know, they kind of hate the idea of something new, but
Yeah.
there's also a little learning curve that we all have to go through.
Yeah, bro. Very
Indeed.
good, brother.
Indeed, my man.
Man, I told you, man. I told you. All right, so let's just say for now. You know me. You know Mr. K.
Yeah,
I talk about this cow with them a lot whenever I have the opportunity, and
Yeah.
primarily Mohammed, you got it. Seems like you got it already on lock, but I gotta ask you anyway. Never know. So, 5-year plan.
oh,
We talk about the
Good.
5-year plan.
of course.
You seem to be right on track regarding education. There's no question regarding that. But do you have a 5-year plan? And if so, how important do you think a 5-year plan is?
I have a layout of a 5-year plan, but I don't also want to. Not everything goes as planned. So I don't want to pour concrete over it and set it in stone, because a lot of variables that can happen that changes up your 5-year plan. Like, I'm a photographer, but I want to be a guidance counselor. But let's say Complex Magazines offers me an internship. How does that go along with my 5-year plan? So I have an idea and a track that I want to go into, but I also don't want to push away new opportunities.
Mm.
And
That's
so stuff
good.
like that. So it's yes, I have an idea plan, but it's also okay to not follow that, or not completely go in that straight line of the 5-year plan. Things happen, situations change, interests change. And who knows, maybe when I get to college and actually learn about human services, I might not like it. I might want to pursue art a lot more than I do want to pursue human services. And so me being okay with that is how I'm going about it. But also accepting ideas, accepting new changes. I have a couple things in the work. I don't want to put it out there yet, but I definitely have a couple things in the work coming out.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Okay. And that's dope. You're an artist, man. I mean, I think people forget about when they talk about STEAM or STEM. Well, we talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, but they forget the A part, the STEAM part, the art part.
Yeah.
And it is an art form, whether people want to recognize it or not.
Yeah.
Working with people when you're using certain things.
Mr. K, I tell you this, I love myself, especially the pictures I got of me.
He's a great photographer. Great photographer.
You definitely got to share some pictures. We might have to post one for the.
Of course, whenever I'll give you my Instagram, but
definitely.
I think pictures and art, like with photography, it tells you a story. Like when you see it, you can build your own story off of it. Like let me move this. So this right here, I don't know if you see it.
Yeah,
we do.
We see it.
I have this up in my wall, and it kind of tells a story. It's a little bit isolation. It's black and white. There's no leaves. You could build your own story off of that, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
And also, you could get as creative as you want, as creative as you want. It could be the smallest thing from my aunt to the biggest thing is like a cruise ship, and it's there's endless possibilities, and that's what I love about it.
Indeed, man. I mean, in reference to again, man, like I said, this is awesome combo, and just the dynamics of your character, I can tell, man, you definitely on the right track, whether you have a quote unquote 5-year plan or not. Because it shows you have a very, I can tell, Mo, even for me, just me today, you have a very diverse and very open-minded sense of the world and who you are. And you're hey, I am who I am, but I'm always open to be more of who I am. So it's that's a key quality at your young age that a lot of people don't have. And it's not to say that they will never have it, but you're already encompassing that at a younger age than most people. Most people now find that out in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. You know what I'm saying? Like whenever you get it is valid. Whenever you get it is, you know, definitely something to cherish. But the fact you're getting it at a younger age bodes well for you, man. Really well.
Actually, I wanted to share this one thing. So for Joe Torre, the NFL, I said NFL, the baseball player, right? Inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I personally met him. And he has a gala every year that it's at Cipriani's on Wall Street. And I was invited, and I was one of the keynote guest speakers.
Okay.
So, you know, me being a kid from the hood, a kid that's like, you know, not around, quote unquote, the fancy and like the elegance of life, I was introduced to a whole new set of people. And when I first got in there, it was very uncomfortable for me. Like I wasn't in I wasn't in the hood anymore. I wasn't around the people I'm comfortable talking to. I was around people that have yachts, that have boats, that have like houses. And you know, I'm a dude that live in the project. So it's like, it was kind of a learning curve for me where it's like, you know, it kind of opened my eyes. It also kind of falls into line with the college. You're going to meet people from all walks of life. Especially if you're like kind of like outgoing and speak publicly. I was asked to speak in a room full of hundreds of people. There was almost more than around 600 people in that room, and this was my first time ever speaking in front of a room that big. And you know, my idea of everything is like, yo, there's snobby rich people, but they turned out to be really kind people that kind of resonated with the story of finding self-identity. And that's what my speech was. Like, yeah, there might be differences, but, you know, we're all human at the end of the day, and some of the stuff that we deal with are similar. Whether that's with self-identity or, you know, falling back to your religious beliefs and stuff like that. And I wanted to tell this and share this message. It's okay to come out your comfort zone.
Right.
You know, it's okay to explore, try new things. Because, you know, that night I tried the food, and that's when I found out I hate that food. I love the big portions. But I mean, like, you know, I wouldn't know that unless I tried it. And so it's like, you know, I don't want to put anybody down for trying anything. I think you should always try. And in college, you'll be introduced to that big set of people where, you know, there might be a Kim from Colorado or a Jack from California that's going to my college. And so, you know, I just want to tell people it's okay to meet new people, and it's okay to be scared too. But don't let the fear be the reason you're not introducing yourself and broadening your network.
Right. Right, indeed. So Mo, like you definitely said some things that are like on point, man. As far as like it's exposure, right? But safety exposure, something you were already kind of leaning towards anyway.
Yeah.
Hoping to better your life and your situation.
Wait,
like,
can you repeat that? The audio kind of went in and out.
My audio?
Yeah, it went in and out. Can you repeat that?
Sure. So I was saying that with some of the things that you say you expose yourself to, it's okay to try certain things, and just to let the family know, like you're trying certain things that already are in line with what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's nothing like way out of your zone of like, hey, I'm trying to be successful. I'm trying to get here. And I don't know the exact way to do that, but I know this might help me. So let me try this just to see. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. You try something else. Even with the food, like it wasn't until I went to events, I tried certain foods. I'm like, oh, I like this, but I really don't like that. You know, it's real tasty. Like, what is this? Like, who made this? What is in this? You know, what culture does this come from? Like, you know, you start getting into all that. And, you know, I always regard like, especially food, man, a good way to enter a culture, man, because it kind of gives you a little insight on like how they prepare, like what's the purpose, where does it come from? You know, those are typically items that are grown in that particular region of the world. So all these different things, right, connected. So like, what are some of the things, like we talked about it earlier, as far as like artists who influence you? The people influence you, but like particularly since you're an artists that have influenced you. And we talked about Nipsey early and things like that. And could you go into that, like, because people may look at you, to be honest, think like, oh, what does this dude know about Nipsey? You know, like, connection.
So,
you know?
I mean, So on the base, when you see Nipsey, or like if you're somebody that aren't familiar with Nipsey Hussle, you
Right.
know, he is not only an artist, you know, he's an investor. He owns his own clothing brand, his own company, and you know, he even provided a workspace for different entrepreneurs in Slauson. And so I think that's one of my biggest motivations and biggest like inspirations as far as what is going on, because right now we're taught you're not nothing unless you're wearing $1,000 pair of jeans, unless you got
Exactly.
$7,000 on your sneakers, and or like a $20,000 chain. You're nothing if you don't got that.
Right.
Versus where Nipsey taught us, like, yo, that's what they want you to think. That's what they want you to think. Versus like, yo, let's take that $20,000 you spent on the chain. Let's take that 7,000 on the sneaker. Let's take that $1,000 and find ways to invest that money or make that money make money for you. And so, as far as like you know what's going on nowadays, you know, I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing a lot of artists like 21 Savage. Like you know, when he came into the game, he had this like super big chains, the super big earrings, but now you know they're more leaning away from it and more towards investing and buying stores. You know,
Yeah.
there's this rapper out of Harlem. He's not super mainstream yet, but his name is Neek Bucks. You know, when he
Mm.
started getting his rap money, he didn't go and buy a chain. He went and bought a deli. He went and bought a corner store.
Wow.
And now he has two sources of income flowing in. And
Wow.
so, like, you know, me and Mr. K talked about this. I think that's what we're not really being taught. I'm like, you know, I have the money to go buy a nice golden chain, but it's like, what is that golden chain gonna really do for me in the long run? You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'll be lucky if I get my money back, but also there's gonna be a little depreciation to that gold chain too. And
Right.
so, you know, I'm technically losing money. Versus, um, like if I buy these sneakers right now, and 5 years along the line, that $200 sneaker is now $1,000 sneaker. And like, you know, that's what I want to teach is like making smart investments with your money rather than dropping 5 bands on a gold chain.
Right.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And
This.
so like, you know, Nipsey Hussle, Neek Bucks, Dave East, Meek Mills. Meek Mills is the biggest one too. You know, they're falling away from what the stereotype used to be, the stereotype of a immigrant, a minority, a black man. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the stereotype is like you got the huge chains, you got the expensive jewels and stuff like that, but you don't got no food in your fridge. You know, versus, you know, you wearing a $20 shirt, you wearing $10 pants, and you wearing like what, $50 sneakers, and you got $20,000 in the bank account right now.
It looks like a part two with this one too, Kyle.
Right.
It's up to you.
This brother, I'm telling you this so much. I want to get into some like current events. So we at the hour. We're like
Yes.
5 minutes at the hour. So what I would like to do, pretty much, is ask you your final word. Well, I'm gonna form a final question.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna go around and give your final words. But what didn't we cover that you would like people to know with regards to just the plight, or what do you see going on?
A message that I want to leave everybody off with, it's okay to be different. You know, not a
Right.
lot of people understand that, and you know, sometimes you could be in that same category where it's like you meet something different and you push it away because you don't understand it. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a race thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a stigma type thing. It could be anything as simple as food. You know, you don't understand certain foods and you don't eat it,
Right.
but it's okay to be different, and it's okay to come outside of the box that society tries to put you in. You know, this is the little hole that society tries to put you in, and it's okay to
Mm-hmm.
but in saying that, it's okay to also try to you know, go the safe route. If you want to, you know, go to college, do this, that, it's okay. But if you don't feel like going to college, it's okay too. You know, not everything is for everyone. It's not one size fits all. You know, everybody has different wants. Everybody has different needs. Everybody has different everything. You know, that's what makes you, all the differences. That's what makes everybody in this room, in this call, and whoever's watching, the viewers watching, that's what makes everyone special. You know, the differences. And it's okay to want to study other people's differences. You know, a lot of Muslims might find it kind of, kind of like, oh, if I want to study Christianity, if I want to study Judaism, you know, one thing I learned from studying Christianity, a lot of the beliefs that Christians have, Muslims have too. And it's like, you know, there's a lot of similarities within there. And yeah, that's like the little message I want to leave.
Okay, brother, what you got, Cal? You got a final question for Mo?
I mean, yeah, man, like, and this is slightly off topic, but it's cultural too. But I see, because I talked about the fours earlier in the background.
You want the story behind those?
Yes, what's the story behind that, man?
Okay. I went to like a family picnic and I saw this big guy there. He was kind of like a little bigger than me, but like the entire outfit was nothing crazy. But then when I saw those fours was like looking crazy. But he was a big dude, but he was spitting game to all the girls. Like I'm talking like he was number there, and like he was spitting crazy. And I think like I'm a really well-dressed dude. I think I can get fly, but I was like, yo, there's something about those sneakers on his feet that's giving him the confidence to like. And so as soon as I got home that afternoon, I went online. I searched everywhere, and I found a hit on eBay, and I got those fours. And as soon as that happened, like, you know, we went to a family picnic, and I was the guy talking to the girls, and like, you know, it was just the mentality, like, yo, like, those fours is gonna be the one reason, like, I'm gonna be able to talk to this girl. But in the long run, that wasn't really why. But I was able to get them sneakers for $200.
That's a pretty good deal for those.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty good deal.
Brand new out the box. I got them for $200.
Man, those are my side story, man. Those are my first pair of Air Jordans I ever got, man.
Yo, these are my first pair of Jordans.
Yeah, man, those are my first pair. We got like, I mean, I see that commonality. Yo, I remember my pops took me to Foot Locker.
Yeah.
Even the Foot Locker, I think the price was $75.87. Like I remember ringing up and everything. So my first pair, and those same ones, those white with the gray with the splattered paint. Yeah, man. Yeah, those are my joints, man.
I mean, one thing I realized is like, let me not spend that type of money on sneakers. I mean, it's okay to every now and then.
Yeah, you see, I said $75. You see how? I mean, I was a young kid, but still.
Like, now these Jordans go for around $500.
Yeah, man.
So I mean, like, I want to also mention, like, you know, it's okay to treat yourself sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but also one other thing, and it has to do in regards to money. And it takes me a long time to figure this out. If you can't buy it once, don't buy it. I mean, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once.
quote. I saw that in Facebook.
Damn.
I actually, like, I saw the quote on Facebook, but I actually heard this from my teacher.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because he was talking about sneakers, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy them. He was like, can you buy 2 pair of them? Mm-hmm. I was like, nah, I can only buy 1 pair because I only got like $100. Okay. He's like, then don't buy it.
Very good.
He was like, if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it once.
Yeah, because you can't maintain it. You know, I tell my students, you know, it's everybody can buy. Well, not everybody, but there are most people that can buy certain things, but can't maintain it. Mm-hmm. If they maintain it, then, you know.
Yeah, because it's going to end up being a liability, and let's say like an expense comes along. What's going to happen? You're not going to have money, but you're going to have the fly kicks.
Right, right. Now, if the fly kicks get you to the money.
Oh yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah,
like,
then we talking. That's an investment. Yeah, exactly. That's an investment.
Leave these two. There's a statement that says, what I forgot. Y'all got me all riled up over here. It's one thing to get something. It's another thing to keep it, right? So if you can't keep it. And then there's another thing that goes into real estate, right? It says, if you're ever renovating a house, whatever the case may be, and you have contractors, make sure you have more than what they quote, twice as much than what they quote, because usually the price that the contractor is quoting is going to be more as they get into construction, because they're going to discover different things and things of that nature. So you always want to have that cushion of money set aside, which is twice the amount that they quoted you for these various emergencies that pop up. So it falls in line with the same thing. If you can't buy it twice, then you can't afford it, which is very good. Hey, that concludes our Grand Rising Collective.
Yes,
Our
yes.
brother, young brother here, who's the future, Mohammed. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I gotta calm down because I'm talking gonna be crazy.
Part two coming up.
Part two.
Yeah,
Listen,
those.
before I go any further, because I know Kyle is gonna beat me to it. So let me try and get this in there first.
Oh man,
Mohammed, thank you so very much, brother.
Of course.
Taking the time out. You're a young person, right?
Yeah.
It's a Saturday. You could be out there. It's sunny outside or what have you. I know you're busy.
It's cold. It's cold.
It is cold.
But
It's cold.
you could be reading, right? And Lou on the phone to do it. But thank you for taking the time out, really, brother, to sit with us and share with us. And not only share with just us, which we're privileged to have, but we're honored to be able to share that with others. Your insight, your perspective, knowledge base, all that, man. Thank you so very much. Appreciate you.
Of course.
My handles are on Twitter and Instagram, Balogun Logic, Balogun.
Yeah, I followed you, Mr. K. I found you.
Yeah, Bo follows me. I'm
gonna follow you too, Kyle.
Yeah.
Cool, please, thank you.
He gonna give his handles.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
So on YouTube, it's I have 3 channels. One is Kaide Bentley, where I do discuss scriptures and stuff like that. I have another channel called Perspective TV, where I have interviews just like this, but 1-to-1 with influencers.
Yeah.
I also have Candid Advisor, where I give my candid advice on various topics, again, relationships, education, career, things of that nature. And I have 4Ts, so go to 4Ts Media, where it's 4Ts information as well. And I changed that profile picture, by the way, Mo. Check out the website again.
I'm telling Mr. K, he got to change his profile pictures. Like those pictures look too old.
Kyle, and then we'll leave it up to Mo to leave us his handles in which to contact him. Go ahead, Kyle. Thank you.
Indeed. So, family, my handle is on
your final words too, Kyle. Your final words and handle. Don't
yes. Well, no, I want to Mo's going. I'm gonna let Mo do his thing, and then I'm gonna end it out on that note. Okay. So, in reference of my handles, real briefly, family, is on Instagram DIX_KYLE, on Twitter KEasy773. That's KEASY773. And then on YouTube, just Mr. Kyle Dixon. All right. So Mo, please give your handle, my brother.
My handle is Instagram. That's the best place you can find me in, and that's really what I use. It is at moe.hassan._. Feel free to hit me up. We could collab on photos, and yeah.
Word, indeed. So, family, as you see here, we bring the heavy hitters, and this is a perfect example of young people, young adults coming into their own, but they have a lot more to share than you really think they do. Just because they got on the Jordans, just because you see them running the class or whatever, doesn't mean that they don't have a lot of insight to give you, and that way it'll help to give you a broader sense of who they are and who we have in our society, people from different cultures, different societies, different places. And that's the beauty of New York, but that's just the beauty of like America if we really take advantage of that, despite all the nonsense that's going on around us. So we appreciate your time with us. Definitely check us out. Please like, share, subscribe, because we're trying to get 1,000 subscribers by June. But even if you're subscribing up until this point, thank you so much for believing in us, supporting us, and please continue to do so. And this is the Grand Rising Collective podcast, and we appreciate you always.
Yeah. Baby, yeah. You know, say ready on this. You know I have patience.